Welcome back to my podcast. This is Big Brand, the Jersey Man, and this is the Big 38. Thank you for coming out and enjoying one more video with me. This is a late night video, and you're going to notice that I'm going to push content out as much as I can. And these are all off the top of my head. I don't plan these, I just sit at home and literally I come and talk to you about what goes on in my head. And these are open therapy sessions. Open therapy sessions. Again, no offense to anybody that's watching this. I am very cannabis friendly. I will keep it out of the camera as much as I can, but I want you to know that I did indulge. But this is a late night conversation. Late night. Actually, it is almost midnight tonight. So I wanted to speak on something that is a touchy subject. But again, if you come to Big Brands, Big 38 podcast, I want you to know something. I want you to know that this is always going to be a touchy subject. We're always going to have touchy conversations, but it will never be disrespectful, and I will never, ever go too far. And I never will go too far, but I will go far enough. And that is something that I will promise you. But tonight, what I want to talk about is masturbation, the pros and cons of masturbation. That means that I am now and always will be admitful to being a masturbator. I guess that is something that we got to get out of the way right now. So I am going to go ahead and admit that, so we don't have to go in and question that and think about that. I want you guys to understand that these conversations are going to get touchy. No pun intended. But no, seriously. Now, the pros and cons of masturbation. Now, I want to start off with what I would like to say the pros of being of masturbation. And first and foremost, I think that one thing that we have to understand about this is that we all have some type of way needed to pleasure ourselves in a manner in which we had to touch ourselves, either in a sexual manner, or maybe we just had to speak to ourselves in a way. But it is normal. It is very normal. And it is something that everybody, or, I'm not going to say everybody. I guess I have to stop saying that. I think that majority of the people, human beings, have had this situation and they have done the things with themselves that have been, sexual, and they have had, again, they have done things with themselves that, pleasured themselves. So I guess I want to start with the pros and then I want to get to the cons. The pros of this is that you doing this, masturbating is a way of letting yourself be free. When you don't have the if you don't have the opportunities to have sex with someone, or if you don't have anyone in your life, then masturbating can be something that is good. Even if you do have someone in your life, I think that masturbation could be something that is good for you. But but there is a point where masturbation becomes very much a hindrance to your life. And that is the part where I want to say is a con. So the pro is getting to know yourself, having that understanding with yourself, knowing what you like and knowing what turns you on and the different things like that. That is very much the pro of masturbation. But the con is that you will become so intertwined with yourself that you will start to venture off into things that you know become a hindrance to your mind, and that starts to become, which I call pornographic material, which is not what I call it, what it is. You start to, you may start off in a manner of which you're masturbating, and you can do it with fantasy, and you fantasize and you think about things. But when you become so enamored into the masturbation that it becomes, you need pornographic pictures, videos, that's when it becomes a hindrance. And that's the part where I would say is a con. Now, again, that is my opinion. But this is coming from someone who has suffered from porn addiction for a long time. I mean, a long time. And uh, it is not a good thing, and that's going to be, I'm going to get to that next, but I want to stay on this one. This is when I say to you that that is going to start being a con, when you start needing pornographic pictures or videos to indulge in masturbation with yourself, because again, this is yourself. So to me, in my mind, I don't feel like you need to have porn to masturbate, if that makes sense. But then it becomes something different when you do need that. And that's the next point. And that is where I'm going to say is a con, which is pornographic videos. That is a con. And why I say that is because the videos are so staged and so put together that you honestly begin to think that this is the way that sex and life should be. And the reason why I to personally feel like that it hinders your life in such a way is because you start to believe that these are honestly what women really want as a man. And I'm only speaking as a man. I can't speak because as a woman may have a whole different thought of porn. And so I think that, and it's always been a problem, not a problem, but it's always been a difference between women and men. But in my opinion, as a man, I feel like you start to believe that that is what women want. And so you start to do things that not only um it not only makes you start to question yourself, but it makes your partner start to question you. And that is where it becomes a very, very big hindrance in the relationship and in your mind, because then it becomes an addiction. And the porn addiction is something that anybody, to me, wants to stay away from, because it's always going to be very, 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 very hard to get away from that. And so that is something that I stay, you know, if you are, if you are, just understand that it is harder to get through that alone. It's very hard to get through that alone, and but you're not alone, and you should and seek help. And I know that it's hard to admit and be admittful and say, I have a problem, because you don't want to admit that that's a problem, but that is a problem. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is something that is going to stop you and hold you back from being who you want to be. And like I said, don't confuse porn addiction with masturbation, because masturbation is a very healthy form of self pleasure. Porn addiction is not. And so I think that my biggest point of this is to make anyone aware that, to masturbate is natural. That is your body. That is your body. It is as natural as to do anything that you do with your body at your time, and your time, while you're alone with your body. So never look at masturbation and feel any type of way as if you are doing something wrong. So there can't be, if you're doing it the right way, no pun intended, you are causing no harm to anyone else. So you have all the right. But porn addiction is not a great form of masturbation. It is not. It is not, and it is very unrealistic. It is. It is very unrealistic. So that is what I am going to call a con. Now, I am going to get into another thing and another form of masturbation, and it is with coming with celibacy, and it is coming with religion. Again, um, if this is your faith, if it's your faith that you do not masturbate, if it is within what you're doing or what you're going through, and you're venturing off into celibacy or anything, any form of semen retention, then therefore you shall stay away from masturbation. Period. And I honestly would tell you that that is the hardest thing that I have ever had to do. I that was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I'm being 100%, and I lost, again, 100 pounds since January. So, and I'm going to be honest with you. It wasn't the losing the weight. It wasn't the stop eating. And it wasn't any of that. It was the honest to God. It was the losing the porn addiction. It really is. It really is. It's a one day at a time type thing. You know what I mean? And I want people to understand that. This thing is serious. It's a one day at a time type thing, because I'm telling you, it only takes you 1 second to feel lonely. It takes you 1 second to, feel like you need something that's gonna, make you feel better. And you crack open that phone, you crack open that tablet, that book, whatever you have, and you pop open a video, and there you are. So it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing. So I, you know, those two things are so thin line that you have to walk that line very, 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 very tightrope. Very, very. But again, I want to encourage anyone who is feeling lonely, anyone who needs to feel any type of self awareness, and enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself, my brothers and sisters, my sisters and brothers. And I'm not from Harlem, but I'm going to pause that. And so I will say pause, but no, seriously, I want you guys to enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. You understand what I'm saying? You don't need anyone else. This is a one person show. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. But please be aware that there is a thing called too much enjoyment. Please don't ever get it twisted with understanding that there is something that you can do. You can do anything too much. And if you do something too much, then it's becoming a hindrance on who you are. And that is not who you want to be. You do not want to be. Look at me. You do not want to be that guy. Not that guy. You don't want to be that guy, you know. And you know the guy I'm talking about. I don't want to say it because I don't want to be joke, because I want to keep this. I want to keep this, I want to keep it good. But don't be a chronic masturbator, okay? You do not want to be a chronic masturbator, okay? There is not a good time for anyone to be a chronic masturbator, okay? And this is someone who needs it at all times, okay? And we all seen you freaky pervy freaks. We seen you. We seen you at work. This is when the videos start to happening at work. This is when you're in the bathrooms, and it ain't only men. You women do it too. You go in the restroom and start to playing with your little, cootie cats. We know. So don't try to put it all on men. Women, you do your thing too. But That is what we're not. We're not going to become chronic masturbators. Okay. We're not going to do that. Okay. We are not going to, we're going to enjoy ourselves. All that and go home or go on with your day. Okay. We're not missing work. Okay. I'm going to give you a list of things we're not going to do. We're not going to be late to work. Okay. We ain't going to be late to work. We ain't going to be missing work. Okay. We ain't going to be doing it at work. All right. And we ain't going to be doing it at the gym, little freak ass. We ain't going to be doing that. This is what we're not going to do. We're going to keep it professional. And I don't even know if you can be a professional masturbator, but that is what we're going to be. We're going to be professional masturbators. Here at Big 38, we are professional masturbators and we are not chronic masturbators. I want to thank you for coming out. This is my podcast. And if you like, please hit that like and subscribe. Hey, and if you like and subscribe already, I love you. And if you don't, guess what? There's still time for love. I'll get back with you. This is Big Brand, the Jersey Man. Peace.